met Pooh Shiesty mama. I was with Eminem producer, True. And she came up to me and said, hey, I'm Pooh Shiesty mama. And I had just said something about that boy. And she said, I ain't like what you said. I won't say her husband, but Pooh Shiesty daddy represent another faction of Rap-A-Lot, but it's not Rap-A-Lot. When she said that, me and that white boy took off running from her. Yeah, she scared me because she kind of gangster. And I ain't said nothing about it since. I backed out gracious. Ma'am, I won't never say nothing about that boy no more. I can see them doing that to the new Gucci. In Memphis, ain't nothing to play with.
Do you feel like his rap career is over?
It's over. So much killing go take place, his vibe won't mean nothing down the road, homie. We going to new trends probably 3 times out of the year. The requirements of what it take for you to be a rapper now is gonna change 2 years from now, let alone 5 years from now. Not only that, they ordered him 3 years of supervised probation once he get out. So that's really 8 years. And he can't have no association to the crew.
Not Pooh Shiesty.
That's my nigga there, boy. Them Pooh Shiesty babies, now they gonna be something. We got to do something with them motherfuckers. I ain't bullshit on them. Them motherfuckers destroy America. They the gremlins. Now take and them children of the corn. Them Pooh Shiesty motherfuckers is the gremlins. Y'all, man, go watch the movie Gremlins and see how fast them motherfuckers multiply and destroy shit. They some violent motherfuckers. You ever listen to that boy lyrics, man?
Yeah.
Say, man, them niggas, they're scared of police. Yeah, they scared of police, homie.
Yeah, them Memphis niggas for real.
Pooh Shiesty, man, I don't know who writing his lyrics. The devil? How that boy think of all that shit? As young as he is, man, how that little nigga think all that shit? How he know about all them guns? How he know how to kill the way he kill? Man, that's a dangerous motherfucker. Yeah, but I like that motherfucker. I ain't bullshit. I like that.
What do you like?
What you gotta say about Pooh Shiesty? Man, give a fuck about no nigga getting out of jail. That nigga got to try to catch up. Man, we been out here living like a mother. Man, where Pooh at? Man, out of probation now. That nigga got 2 more years before he can be free. He can't drink. He can't ship that syrup right now. Them people gonna be on his ass. Tell me about no. I don't throw nigga jail party.
It's easy to be fearless behind a screen, easy to laugh, easy to mock, easy to go viral. But what happens when the same words that trend online follow you into the real world? That's exactly what people started asking after Charleston White told a story about unexpectedly running into the parents of Pooh Shiesty, the same artist he had criticized publicly during live streams. For months, Charleston had built content around sharp commentary. He questioned street culture. He laughed at legal consequences. He framed incarceration as a wake-up call. And as always, the clips spread fast. But this time, the internet wasn't the stage. According to Charleston's own recounting, when the mother introduced herself and confronted him about his comments, the energy shifted immediately. The tone that once felt bold on live stream suddenly sounded different in person, and that's where the real story begins. Because this wasn't just another viral rant. It was a reminder that there's a difference between internet talk and face-to-face accountability. Online, you control the mic. Offline, you don't control the room. So, the question isn't just what was said, it's what happens when the person you talked about shows up in real life. And that moment, it changed the conversation entirely. Before the confrontation, there was the character. Charleston White didn't become viral by accident. His brand was built on saying what others wouldn't say or wouldn't dare say publicly. He carved out a lane as the loud critic of street culture, often positioning himself as someone exposing hypocrisy while simultaneously provoking it, and it worked. Clips of his live streams regularly rack up hundreds of thousands of views. Short-form edits circulate on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. His tone is sharp, confrontational, sometimes intentionally outrageous. Whether people agree with him or hate him, they watch. That's the key. Attention is currency. Charleston understands that controversy drives engagement. The more uncomfortable the statement, the faster it spreads. Supporters call him honest, critics call him reckless. Either way, his name stays trending. He often frames himself as someone who learned from his past and now wants to redirect young men away from destructive paths. But the delivery? That's where the debate starts, because instead of calm advice, he chooses shock value. Instead of quiet critique, he chooses spectacle. And in the digital age, spectacle wins. But here's the catch. When your platform is built on criticizing real people, especially during their lowest moments, the line between commentary and disrespect gets thin fast. And once that line is crossed, views don't shield you from reaction. Because what plays well on live stream doesn't always translate the same way face-to-face. And that's exactly where this story begins to shift. Now let's talk about who he was speaking on. He isn't just another rapper who had a viral run. He came out of Memphis with a sound that hit hard and fast. His breakout single Back in Blood, featuring Lil Durk, turned into a national anthem in 2020. Within months, he was signed to 1017 Records under Gucci Mane, putting him in position as one of the South's most promising new stars. By early 2021, his mixtape Shiesty Season debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200. That's major. For a young artist from South Memphis, that kind of rise isn't common, it's explosive. But success came with scrutiny. In 2021, Shiesty faced federal charges connected to a shooting and robbery case in Florida. In 2022, he was sentenced to 63 months in federal prison. The headlines were everywhere. Blogs posted non-stop. Comment sections went wild. That's when Charleston White started speaking on it. Instead of sympathy, he mocked the situation. Instead of silence, he laughed about prison humbling him. He framed incarceration as some kind of moral correction, saying the system would fix him. For some viewers, it sounded like tough love. For others, it sounded like celebrating a young man's downfall. And here's what makes that different. Pooh Shiesty doesn't come from nowhere. His name carries weight in Memphis. His family is known. His background isn't detached from the street's Charleston critiques. So when the commentary kept getting louder, it wasn't just about an artist serving time anymore. It became about family, and in certain circles, once family enters the conversation, the rules change. That's when internet talk starts stepping into real-life territory. Here's what a lot of people online forget. Memphis isn't just a backdrop for rap videos. It's a city with layers, history, loyalty lines, neighborhood politics that go back decades. In certain parts of South Memphis, your name carries weight long before social media ever hears it. And Pooh Shiesty didn't grow up separate from that reality. His father, Mob Boss, was known in the local rap scene years before his son blew up nationally. Whether people focus on music or past controversies, one thing is clear. That family name isn't random in Memphis. That matters, because when Charleston White was speaking, he wasn't just critiquing an industry plant with no roots, he was talking about someone whose family is deeply connected to the culture and the streets he claims to understand. And Memphis has a code. Public disrespect doesn't just sit quietly, especially when it's aimed at someone who can't respond because they're locked up. In that environment, defending family isn't optional. It's expected. That's the difference between internet culture and street culture. Online, people argue in comment sections. In Memphis, certain conversations happen face-to-face, so when Charleston kept joking about prison fixing Pooh Shiesty, some saw it as commentary, others saw it as crossing a line. And once a line is crossed in a city like Memphis, the response usually doesn't come through Wi-Fi. It comes in person, and that's exactly what happened next. Everything changed when it stopped being content. Charleston White has admitted publicly that he ran into Shiiesty's mother in person. No live stream, no audience, no comment section cheering him on. Just real life. According to Charleston's own retelling, she approached him directly and introduced herself. Calm, direct, no theatrics. She told him she didn't like what he had been saying about her son, and that's when the tone shifted. For months, he had been joking about prison, mocking the sentence, framing it like entertainment. But when the mother of the man he was talking about stood in front of him, it wasn't funny anymore. It wasn't content. It was family. Charleston later admitted he felt the energy immediately. He described her presence as strong, intimidating even. And whether people believe his full version of events or not, one thing is clear. He didn't keep that same internet energy in that moment. There were no jokes, no smirks, no live stream bravado. Just a reminder that behind every headline is a real mother, a real father, real people who lived through things most of the internet only watches from a distance. And that's the part social media skips. Because it's easy to criticize someone's downfall when you don't have to look their family in the eye. But when you do, the temperature changes fast. And Charleston himself admitted after that encounter, he hasn't spoken about Pooh Shiesty the same way since. That wasn't algorithm pressure, that was real-world accountability. If the conversation with his mother shifted the energy, the mention of his father sealed it. Mob Boss Shiesty's father isn't just a random name attached to a headline. In Memphis, he's known, both in music and in the streets. Years before his son's rise, he had already built a reputation locally. Now, whether people focus on his rap career, his past legal issues, or the way his name still rings in certain neighborhoods, one thing is undeniable. His background carries weight. And Charleston knew that. In his own retelling, he mentioned that Pooh Shiesty's father represents another faction of rap and implied that he understood what that meant. That statement wasn't random, it was acknowledgement. Because in certain cities, reputations don't disappear just because time passes. Memphis has long dealt with the intersection of rap culture and street politics. Names matter, alliances matter, history matters. When you speak on someone publicly, you're not just speaking on them, you're speaking on the people connected to them. And Charleston, who often critiques street culture from a distance, suddenly found himself face to face with people who lived it. That's a different type of pressure. Online, you can perform toughness. You can lean into shock value. You can laugh at someone's legal trouble for clicks. In person, when the father of that man is tied to a legacy in those same streets, the situation isn't theoretical anymore. It's real. And Charleston's reaction afterward, promising not to mention Pooh Shiesty again, shows he understood the difference. Because some conversations aren't meant for comment sections, they're handled in real life. After that encounter, something was different. The same Charleston White who had been laughing about prison and making bold statements suddenly shifted his delivery. In interviews afterward, he admitted he ran. He admitted he was intimidated. He admitted he wouldn't be speaking Shiesty again. That's not small, because Charleston's brand is built on never backing down. He's known for doubling down. When critics challenge him online, he usually gets louder. When backlash comes, he leans into it. But this time, he recalculated. You could hear it in his voice when he told the story. The humor was still there, but it was thinner, less confident. He framed it like a funny escape moment. But underneath that, there was acknowledgement. He understood he had stepped into something deeper than internet commentary. And here's what's interesting. No threats were publicly posted. No viral fight clips surfaced. No dramatic showdown hit social media. It was quiet. And sometimes quiet is louder than chaos. The lesson wasn't delivered through violence. It was delivered through presence, through lineage, through the understanding that some families don't separate online disrespect from real-world accountability. Charleston didn't delete his platform. He didn't apologize in a press conference. But he changed behavior. And in the world he operates in, behavior change says more than 1,000 tweets ever could. That moment exposed the line between performance and reality. And once that line becomes visible, it's hard to pretend it doesn't exist. There's a thin line between speaking on culture and stepping on people. For months, Charleston White framed his comments Shiesty as critique. He positioned himself as someone calling out destructive behavior. In his mind, he wasn't attacking a family. He was criticizing a lifestyle. But here's the problem. Tone changes everything. When you laugh at someone's prison sentence, it doesn't sound like social commentary. It sounds like celebration. When you mock a young man's downfall, especially while he's behind bars and can't respond, it doesn't feel like wisdom. It feels personal. And that's where the reaction started to make sense. In many communities, especially in places like Memphis, family loyalty runs deep. You can debate ideas. You can argue about music. You can even criticize choices. But once it feels like you're disrespecting someone's child, someone's bloodline, it stops being conversation. It becomes confrontation. Charleston operates in the digital space, where conflict fuels engagement. But families operate in the real world, where reputation and respect still matter more than clicks. That collision was inevitable. This wasn't about algorithms anymore. It wasn't about views or trending topics. It was about the difference between analyzing culture and humiliating someone publicly. And when that difference becomes clear, even the loudest personalities have to adjust. Because the internet might reward shock value, but real life rewards respect. One of the biggest illusions social media creates is distance. When you're behind a screen, it feels safe. You can say what you want. You can joke about serious situations. You can critique someone's life like it's a TV show. And most of the time, nothing immediate happens. That's the illusion. For someone like Charleston White, the internet is home base. Live streams, podcasts, viral clips, that's his arena. In that space, he controls the narrative. He controls the tone. He controls the audience. But real life doesn't have mute buttons. When he was Pooh Shiesty's family, there was no audience to perform for. No comment section to back him up. No ability to log off. Just presence. And presence changes energy fast. The same statements that feel bold online can feel reckless face-to-face. The same laughter that feels harmless through a camera can feel insulting in person. That's the part people underestimate. The internet gives you reach. It does not remove consequences. In fact, sometimes it magnifies them. Because when you build a platform off controversial takes, eventually one of those takes is going to reach the people you're talking about directly. And when that happens, the distance disappears. Charleston experienced that collapse of distance in real time. The screen was gone. The safety net was gone. And suddenly, the weight of words felt different. That's when the illusion breaks. In today's culture, it sometimes feels like everything is content. Arrests become headlines. Court dates become memes. Prison sentences turn into punchlines. And personalities like Charleston White know how to ride that wave better than most. But there's one thing that hasn't changed, no matter how digital the world becomes. Respect still matters. When Charleston spoke on Pooh Shiesty's incarceration, he treated it like commentary. From his perspective, he was analyzing behavior and calling out what he believes is destructive street culture. From a family's perspective, though, it felt like mockery. And that difference is everything. For parents, especially those who've lived through harsh environments, protecting their child's name isn't optional. It's instinct. It's pride. It's survival. When someone laughs at your son's lowest moment, it doesn't sound like social analysis. It sounds like disrespect. That's why the confrontation carried so much weight. This wasn't about going viral. It wasn't about trending topics. It was about letting someone know that there's a boundary between speaking on issues and celebrating someone's downfall. Charleston built a brand on pushing boundaries. But boundaries still exist. The real lesson here isn't about fear. It's about awareness. You can critique systems, you can question choices, you can even challenge narratives. But once it feels personal, once it sounds like you're enjoying someone's struggle, the reaction won't stay on. Because while the internet may run on outrage, real life still runs on respect. You can always tell when someone realizes the situation just shifted. For months, Charleston White spoke both Pooh Shiesty's prison sentence. He laughed, he joked, he framed it as a lesson being taught. His delivery was sharp, almost playful. But after that real-life encounter, the tone wasn't playful anymore. It was careful. In interviews after the run-in, Charleston admitted he had been confronted directly. He acknowledged that the energy felt different in person. He even said he wouldn't mention Pooh Shiesty again. That's not a small shift. For someone whose brand thrives on saying what others won't, choosing silence is powerful. It shows he understood something in that moment, that there's a difference between debating ideas and disrespecting someone's family. Body language tells stories words sometimes can't. The same man who had been animated on live streams suddenly sounded measured. The jokes disappeared. The laughter stopped. The edge softened, and that change spoke louder than any viral clip. It wasn't about fear. It was about clarity. When you're online, it's easy to forget that the people you talk about have parents, siblings, loved ones who hear everything. It's easy to treat a headline like entertainment instead of real life, but when those loved ones stand in front of you, the story stops being content. It becomes human. That moment forced a reset. And sometimes, a reset says more than all the noise that came before it. There's a big difference between being famous online and being respected in real life. Charleston White built his name through controversy. His formula is simple. Say what others won't. Challenge street culture, call out rappers, laugh at situations most people treat carefully. That approach brought him millions of views and a loyal audience. Online, that energy wins. But offline, different rules apply. When he crossed paths with the Shiesty, he stepped into a world that doesn't care about algorithms. In that space, reputation isn't measured in followers. It's measured in history, loyalty, and how you carry yourself face to face. Street reality isn't loud, it's direct. There are no comment sections to hide behind, no viral edits to shape the narrative, just presence and accountability. That's what made the situation powerful. Charleston's platform gave him influence, but influence doesn't erase consequences. When online talk reaches real people, especially families, it stops being performance and starts being personal. And personal situations don't respond well to sarcasm. This whole moment exposed something deeper about today's culture. Social media blurs lines. It convinces people that attention equals power. But there's another kind of power that doesn't trend. It's quiet. It's rooted in loyalty. It doesn't need views. When those two forms of power meet, the internet usually blinks first. Charleston didn't lose his platform, he didn't disappear, but he did adjust. And that adjustment proved one thing clearly. Real-world energy still outweighs online bravado. When everything calmed down, what remained wasn't drama. It was a lesson. This situation wasn't just about Charleston Pooh Shiesty, it was about how quickly commentary can turn into disrespect when empathy disappears. Charleston built his audience by challenging street culture and calling out behavior he believes is that's his lane. And debate is part of culture. But when that debate shifts into celebrating someone's downfall, especially when that person can't defend themselves, it hits differently. That's where the backlash came from. For Pooh Shiesty's family, this wasn't about internet entertainment, it was about protecting their son's name while he's serving time. In many communities, that responsibility, just because cameras are off, if anything, it gets strong. And that's why this moment mattered. It reminded everyone watching that behind every viral clip is a real person. Behind every prison sentence is a mother. Behind every headline is a family dealing with real emotions. The internet rewards bold statements, but real life demands accountability. Charleston experienced that firsthand. He didn't double down, he didn't escalate. That adjustment might be the biggest takeaway of all. In a culture where going viral often feels more important than being respectful, this confrontation showed that some lines still exist, and crossing them can bring consequences that no algorithm can protect you from. When internet talk meets real life, the volume usually drops, and the message becomes clear. At the end of the day, this whole situation shows one simple words carry. Online talk might feel like entertainment, but real life doesn't run on likes and shares. It runs on Charleston White learned that lesson the hard way, and whether you agree with him or not, the moment proved that some lines still matter. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Charleston changed for good? Or was this just temporary damage control? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more real breakdowns of hip-hop's biggest